Hey yo, what it do? Welcome to the Axis of Combat podcast, episode 50. We're covering UFC Vegas 90, the card before 300. As always, I'm one of your co-hosts, Ray Boogie, Ray from the A-Yo, my co-host.
Hugo the boss, Hugo got next. You already know. And before we get into any of that hoopla, you already know the deal. Like, comment, subscribe, follow Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok.
Everybody enjoying these visuals right now, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to stay up to date.
And for all of our audio listeners, Spotify, Apple, Google Podcast, you already know. And before we jump into this UFC 90 Vegas card, we're going to recap some of our bets from last weekend. We got rinsed, to be frank with you, bleached, rinsed, hung up to dry, and then thrown back in the dry even after we were already dry.
And then we got washed again.
Terrible, just a bad beat on some of these fights, man. And we just learned very thoroughly that the New York State Commission is terrible. And we're going to be very careful treading in the future with these UFC cards in the East Coast because the commission's terrible. But
yeah, I mean, listen, Atlantic City was just a weird ass card from top to bottom, to be honest. And we took our shots and we ain't come out looking too hot. We came out looking like Bruno Silva's eyes at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and then obviously with the Tim Tszyu bets over the weekend, I mean, he runs into an MMA elbow in a boxing match and literally is bleeding so much he can't see the punches.
I think in hindsight, he probably should have just like
went to the body.
No, not even. Like they were saying that. I mean, the way
there's no contest.
Yeah, just not pull out, but like, hey, listen, I'm excessively bleeding here. It was an accidental elbow. It
would have been a no contest. He would have retained, and then he probably would have ran it back with Nora or Keith Thurman in a future date.
Yeah.
You know, and now since they had a verbal agreement, his management just let him down. Now he's probably not going to get this belt back.
Nope.
Man, I feel so terrible for him. His management let him down there. I'm sorry. It's just a bad beat for not only us but him as well this weekend. So
I mean, but if there's one thing you learned, Tim Tszyu, he don't give a fuck. He old school. You know what I'm saying? He's a dog.
He's a savage.
He's a savage. He didn't give a damn.
Yeah, I don't know which judge scored it for him. I didn't, and I had a bet on him. But before the cut, he was looking like he was going to stop this kid as expected, which is very unfortunate for our betting because we would have been up a little better than we were by a pretty decent margin considering the size of the parlay. But that's neither here nor there. We'll jump right into this. Loughran inside the distance. Pacheco is that zombie at the end of a video game that won't die.
No.
Petrosky finished himself. I mean, Godinez's decision, I'm okay with that. The fight was close. Verna beat her. I gave it to Godinez unbiasedly because I think Verna wasn't doing anything with the positions, but you know, I'm not gonna cry. That one I can live with. Blanchfield's money line, that one I'll take on the chin too. That was just, you know, we had a read, didn't work out. It's all good. We had a parlay on Loughran's money line, Algio's money line, Tim Tszyu's money line. Tim Tszyu, as you heard, had the unfortunate cut. Algio just got lumped up. I seen a lot of cappers online and a whole bunch of people online in general complaining about the stoppage.
I didn't think it was terrible.
He was getting lumped, bro. He was getting lumped up. Like, it was bad.
I mean, I get the argument. Like, you know, he reacts like that to all, like, in a lot of his fights. But at the same time, I mean, Kyle Nelson was working him over.
It was for like a good 15 to 20 seconds of him working him.
And then we're in New Jersey, so I mean,
come on, man.
You know, Gary Copeland was ready.
he was the star of the night.
Oh my god,
it was terrible.
That's not a good look.
Yeah, because the Weidman fight should have been a no contest.
100%.
And
my opinion.
Yeah, and I didn't even have a bet on the fight. Nope. It's just what it is.
No dog in that fight, but
yeah. Then we had Loughran sub, Burns round 1. I had Arce round 3. Dumas decision, which also, by the way, another fight that probably should have been a no contest, but yeah. I mean, there was eye pokes galore in this card. Then I had Estrada's decision and Tim Tszyu's knockout on a boxing parlay. That one didn't hit. But for what did hit, Njokuani's money line, Buckley's money line, Arce's round 2, and then Estrada's decision, which kind of saved me this weekend low key. That one, I had a good read on it. But regardless, still finished down 5 units, 1 unit up in boxing. and then 5 units down in MMA. So for a total of a little under 5 units. So it is what it is, man. It was a tough beat this weekend because if Tim Tszyu comes through, I think we're up good. Algeo doesn't do the chicken dance for 15 to 20 seconds. We're all right. But that one I let go. I think he just lost that fight. And then obviously Petrosky knocking himself out. That dude is permanently faded in my opinion. I can't pick him again after that.
It was just so fucking weird.
It was bad. He won the first. Oh, and that's another thing. People who said that he lost the first round. What fight were you watching?
Yeah. I mean,
he dropped him.
Competitive first round. They both kind of clapped each other, but I mean, I edged it towards Petrosky.
Petrosky landed. He dropped him.
100%.
He landed the bigger damage. Come on, man. I don't. We got to keep the rules consistent here. So when people are complaining, I don't get it. I take my losses on the chin. My brother does here as well. Everyone else, I don't know what's going on, but don't cry, don't whine. You picked wrong. That's it. End of story. What do you got for me, my brother?
Well, it's more of the same old, same old. I mean, I got rinsed a little harder than you did, but without risk, they'll never remember your name. You know what I'm saying? So listen, Lachrin, inside the distance. I'd play that again. It's just
Pacheco's a fucking zombie.
Pacheco's just a zombie. Petrosky, finish only. Finished himself. Gudinez, decision. Close but no cigar. Blanchfield. Just not a good read, I guess, at the end of the day.
We picked wrong. That's what happened.
Same 2-unit parlay with Lachrin, Algeo, Tim Tszyu. And then for some long shots, I had the Lachrin sub. I played that again, to be honest. Burns inside the distance. Kind of misplayed that. I should have played a little bit of Arce, but
it's all right.
And you live and you learn here, you know what I'm saying? Gudinez round 2 and 3. Landwehr round 2 and 3. That one I'm a little salty about because I had the read on Landwehr and I got a little cute.
That wasn't even a little cute because he finished them with like 15 seconds left. I mean, in the first round,
I just thought Emmers would be. I mean, I didn't expect Emmers to get completely rinsed,
folded.
Like
yeah, me either. No one did. No one did. Nate's a guy who comes back late, so not mad at that.
And then Algeo's sub. If that fight would have went the way I thought it was gonna go, if he probably would have survived that, I think that was still a live bet. I didn't like that. I mean, I did like that bet. I'd probably play that one again. And then my only boxing play was the Estrada decision parlayed with the Tim Tszyu knockout. Again,
bad beat on Tim Tszyu, man.
Swing and a miss,
I felt terrible for him.
What I did hit, I mean, I hit some pretty decent shit. I mean, I had a good read on Bazookia. Played that, hit that. Njoku, that fight didn't play out the way I thought it was going to play out, but again, the better fighter won, in my opinion. McGee stunk up the fucking joint, and he's probably going to get cut, to be honest.
Oh, by the way, another fight, because the judge gave it to him.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I don't know.
What fight were you watching?
2 rounds for McGee? Where?
Yeah, first round, that's it. The other 2, he threw 4 significant strikes each.
Yeah.
Come on, man. Rough. What are we watching?
He walked in with a weird-ass game plan because that's not the way you beat Njoku. I mean, Njokuani, in my opinion. So
it's crazy, bro.
1 unit on Buckley. I mean, we had that read immediately from the beginning. And I had a push on the Gatto sub. Well, that's not even a push. Get
the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here.
I mean, that fight didn't even happen. I thought that would have been Gatto's, easiest path. Dudakova ended up pulling out again, and I mean, listen, it is what it is. I got
Dudakova doing the Dudakova.
Yeah, she Dudakovid. So I got rinsed for about 7.5 units. I'm down tremendous, but hey, listen, we just got to get better here. I mean, and we will. We start slowly. We start with this card, UFC 300.
Very bettable card,
and hey. Back to the top, baby.
And to be frank, we've had the last 3 weeks have been good for us.
Yeah. I mean, listen, there's ups and downs.
Yeah, it's just what it is. But by no means are we like on a losing streak. We actually finished decent over the last 3 weeks. So it's just a bad hurdle in the road. And I think a lot of it had to do with the commission, and then obviously just tough beats, man. It is what it is. We picked Blanchfield wrong. I own it. I don't mind the line we got her at. I feel bad for the people that played her at -200.
Yeah,
they ate it. Yeah. We talked about on the podcast too. If you tune into episode 49, if you got Manon at +150 up, you play her.
100%.
Like that's how we would have played it.
Yeah.
So, I'm not terribly mad at the Blanchfield bet. It's just you picked wrong, and that's just what it is. So, but outside of that, the last 3 weeks, not too bad. I think, I don't want to get in specifics, but we finished up relatively on all the last 3 weeks. So, one tough beat. It is what it is. We're on to the next one, episode 50. Let's get it. 300 next week. Let's get it. Let's get into it, brother. What you got for me?
All right, to kick off the prelim card here for UFC Vegas 90, we got Melissa Tonya Mullins.
Her name changes every day.
The martial artist formerly known as Dixon, going one-on-one with Nora Cornolle. I think she's French, right? Yes, she is. Mullins, perfect. 6-0. Fighting out of England, hailing from England, 32 years old. Cornolle, 7-1. Fighting out of France, hailing from France, 34 years old. I guess it's a decent way to kick off this card. I mean, this card is not terrible. It's not the best card, but it's not terrible. But these are two of the lower level fights. This is, I'm going to go Mullins here. I'm going Mullins here because the wrestling. Plain and simple. I think if this fight stays standing, it's more of a 50-50 shot here. I think Cornolle's probably got the advantage there because she might hit a little harder.
Agreed.
But as we've seen in Cornolle's debut fight, Jocelyn Edwards gave that woman a tour of the octagon. And I never thought those words would come out of my mouth. When she's giving you wrestling lessons, I mean, yikes. You see what I'm saying? So
agreed.
Nothing against Cornolle. Like I said, I think she's a decent striker, but Mullins, she's tough. She's a dog, and she's got the wrestling edge here. So I'm going to lean Cornolle. I'm leaning Mullins here. The artist formerly known as Dixon.
Not Daryl Dixon. But what I will say, yes, I'm with you on this side too. With Mullins, she throws down the pipe a little cleaner, in my opinion. She has a good one too. Her wrestling's really good. She was working Russian Ronda on the floor. And I know Russian Ronda is just Russian Ronda, which, she's as terrible as her nickname is. But what I will say is her ground game is a little underrated, and Mullins dog walked her on the floor. Plus, she was having her moments on the feet. I agree with you with the Nora having the power advantage. She also throws kicks. She has more of a well-versed game with the kicking game because she's a Muay Thai champion in France, and the striking in France is elite, for those who don't know. However, Mullins is the more complete fighter. So for that, I'm going to lean Mullins. I don't like it at this line at minus 340. But if Jocelyn Edwards is getting you to the floor, and by the way, Jocelyn Edwards arguably won that fight. You can make a strong argument for her winning that fight.
Yeah, it was close.
It was close.
A little bit of hometown
cooking in France.
Yeah.
But Mullins is definitely the side here. We're going to figure out how to play this for you guys. So Mullins is the pick.
Next fight on the prelims, we got a debuting Dylan Budka, the mindless Hulk, going one-on-one with César Almeida. I don't know how to pronounce that guy's Brazilian last name or nickname, so I'm not going to do that. We got Budka, 7-2, fighting out of Ohio, of the good old US of A, 24 years old. César Almeida, perfect, 4-0, fighting out of Brazil, hailing from Brazil, 36 years old. Bit of a binary fight here. Budka, I'll start off with him. Solid wrestler, has some college level experience, but he's a bit green in my opinion. His striking is less than average. Uses it. I think he's got some pop, but basic. Uses it to get in. I think when it's on the ground, I think he's pretty solid, to be honest. Not the best control, and his opponent in the Contender Series was kind of okay. But, he got the job done. Dana White called it probably the worst fight he's ever seen. But he liked him because he's a young guy. He's 24 years old. Wanted him to cut down to 170. Obviously, I guess that didn't work out. He's fighting again at 185. Going against César Almeida here. And I'm pretty sure if you've heard it from here, you're going to hear it somewhere else. Yeah, we get it. This guy's fought 3 times against Alex Pereira. He's got 1, lost 2. He's a good kickboxer. Don't let the 4-0 record deceive you. Very good striker. I think, in my opinion, in his Contender Series fight, fought the better guy than Budka in his Contender Series fight. Showed some get up, but again, wasn't fighting somebody with the wrestling caliber of Budka. I think I'm gonna lean. I'm gonna lean Almeida here.
Interesting.
And I'm gonna lean Almeida here because I think even if Budka takes him down, he didn't really show that he's got any kind of real ground and pound. And I think Almeida, I know he's a little older. I know he's also making his debut here, but his striking is
nasty,
elite. And when it comes to the judging here, you want to lean damage. And I think Almeida is going to be able to, in those times where he's not defending takedowns, put more damage. He's the slight dog here, and I'm circling this dog here. This might be a dog play. Unless Budka can show something different here. He is 24. We don't know how good he's improved, but slight edge, slight lean on Almeida here. What about you?
I'm actually on the opposite here. I'm with Budka. So this is good that we have some conflict on this show.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't know how Cesar's going to deal with his wrestling. I really don't. This guy has gas too, man. Like, he doesn't get tired.
That's true.
And that's what guys who are wrestling into him too. So I got to lean Budka just because of the wrestling guys, but everything else you said is correct. He is green. The thing is, Cesar's not great off his back. He's good against the cage. If Budka gets him down in the middle of the octagon, what's he going to do?
That's true.
He's in trouble. So but I'm not mad at the Cesar pick, because if he does hit him, he's going to hurt him. Yes. This dude throws with authority, and he doesn't overextend on his punches either. He's filthy. I mean, to beat Alex Perez,
hey,
you gotta be somewhat fucking good.
You gotta be somewhat decent.
Yeah, so I'm on Budka just because of the wrestling, but I would not, if I change later this week and I made it, you talk me off of it or something else I read, I'm with you, but I'm on Budka here.
Next fight on the prelims, men's bantamweight, we got a debuting Jean Matsumoto. Ooh, man, butchered that. Matsumoto going against the determined Dan Argueta. Jean Matsumoto, perfect. 14-0, fighting out of Brazil, hailing from Brazil, 24 years old, going against Dan Argueta, 9-1, fighting out of Albuquerque, New Mexico, 30 years old. Very good fight, in my opinion here. I'm gonna start with the Matsumoto side. I think Matsumoto is very good. If you ask me, put gun to the head, I think he's probably the better overall fighter. I think he's a little more balanced everywhere else. His striking is very good. Heavy leg kicks, throws in combo. I like everything about this guy. Proactive. He's an active offensive wrestler. Not so good when it comes to the defensive wrestling here. And I think this is where I think Dan Argueta can really shine. We know what Dan Argueta is. Relentless wrestling, pressure. I think this is another dog I'm kind of circling here, but I'm a little too afraid at the moment to commit right now. I gotta mull this one a little more, because I do think, if you ask me, I think Jean is the better fighter. I know he's making his debut. There's a lot that can go wrong in his debut. Dan Argueta's definitely fought on paper the better competition. He's lost to the better competition. And where he shines is definitely kind of
Matsumoto's questionable area.
Yes. So I'm looking at this one. This might be a dog shot, but I'm still kind of on the fence about it. I am gonna lean Matsumoto as the pure pick, but this might be dog or pass. What about you?
I'm actually another fight we're gonna disagree on. I'm on Argueta. And I'm on Argueta because, once again, this is another grappler that does not get tired. He does not get tired. He knows how to. He's been in there with big punchers, big hitters. He's also going to have big moments, too, because he's extremely heavy-handed, too. So if he connects on Matsumoto might get dropped. So you're telling me you're going to give a guy that might have some moments on the feet, extreme grappling pedigree, has gas, against a guy who's debuting, who, by the way, I'm with you. He is by far the more complete fighter. His striking is filthy. I think his jiu-jitsu might be pretty good. The thing is, Argueta also can grapple. Like, he's a hammer, especially when he's on top of you. So, and especially at these odds. He's at plus 140 now, which is crazy because it was close to a pick'em.
He's more than a live dog in this fight, for sure.
More. Yeah. And the thing is, it was a pick'em. Like earlier this week. Now he's plus 140. I feel like this line alone is almost like system play. So I'm on Argueta here. But for people who like Matsumoto, I'm not mad at you. I think he has a lot of. This is a tough first fight, man.
It is. It's tough.
I don't know who match made this.
Good job.
But this might be, he might get rolled here too. There's a very strong possibility, and it's just because he can't stop the takedown. He's been taken down by lesser opponents. So I'm on Argueta here.
Next fight on the prelims, we got Cynthia Calvillo going one-on-one with La Fiera, Piera, Rodriguez. Cynthia, 9-6-1 overall, fighting out of Vegas, 36 years old. Rodriguez, 9-1, fighting out of Panama, but she's Venezuelan, 31 years old. Another good fight, I'm kind of on the fence here and there. Cynthia Calvillo, I think I want to play her. Right?
Me too.
I want to play her. And the argument is that I know she's on a 5-fight losing streak at the moment.
But look who she's lost to.
But she's lost to
killers.
Like really decent. I mean, outside of probably like Nina Nunes, but
yo, you're not high on her, man.
I'm not.
It's crazy. I think at her time she was an elite fighter.
But I think at the time that she fought, I feel like Calvillo probably should have rolled her low key, but I don't know.
Then again, she you could argue she beat Tatiana. I mean, dude. She was one of the few people I've seen be able to deal with Tatiana Suarez's takedowns. Yeah, which is nuts. Tatiana tore her labrum in that fight, but I think it's because Nina was wrestling back into her. But
I mean, listen, I don't know. I'm on the fence about Nina.
We made money on that fight too.
We did
because we picked Nina.
Yeah, we did pick Nina. I'm not opposed to betting people I don't like. You know what I'm saying?
Go ahead.
But like Calvillo, I think she's like better everywhere here. Just a bit. But the problem is like, again, 5-fight losing streak. She is on the older side. She's never been the fastest.
No.
In terms of hand speed or just like, overall like agility and quickness. And Piera, I think she's tough. I think she's probably going to be the harder hitter of the two. I think she might be the better striker. But she lost to Jillian Robertson.
She looked lost on the floor.
And I think if Calvillo just goes to the wrestling here, she's got the wrestling edge. I think she could probably win this fight. She also got taken down by Kay Hansen, and I'm not too high on Kay Hansen at all. She ended up winning that fight, but not a good look.
I think it was a split, too.
I think if this fight stays on the feet, it's probably Piera. And I think Piera can even offensively grapple here, and it's probably still solid for her. But if Calvillo is able to push the pace here, take her down, I think she can hold her down. I think she could beat her up. But I'm on the fence. I don't know. I'm gonna lean Rodriguez as a pure pick. I think she probably does win this fight because Cynthia might be over the hill. She might be. But from a betting perspective, man, I am so tempted to bet Calvillo. I just haven't gotten there yet. It's one of those things. Maybe I'm just gonna wait until weigh-ins, really like digest it, see how she looks, and then I'll probably make my final decision there. But as of right now, I think Rodriguez is the slight side for me. I'm not gonna bet Rodriguez at minus money.
Hell no.
I think Calvillo might be the bet, but this is a little bit of a wait and see approach for me. What about you?
So we're gonna agree on this fight, and the only reason I'm gonna agree with you on this fight is because this fight's taking place at 115. If it was at 125, I'd be all over Calvillo. I just don't know if she's even gonna make weight for this fight. This fight might get canceled before the fight starts. Yeah. So be mindful of that. She's too big. She's gonna be super depleted. She is older. Everything you mentioned is 100% spot on. But what I will say is I think Calvillo has an underrated jab. I thought she beat Lupe Godinez her last fight, who I think is the better wrestler. Not only did she outstrike her, which on the CompuBox, and you look at Lupe's face, she looked like she got thrown out of a car. She was able to wrestle her too, and Lupe is filthy with the wrestling, filthy. So I'm gonna lean Calvillo here. Actually, you know what? Fuck it, let's do it. I'm gonna lean Calvillo, not with the slight bit of confidence because I can't trust her to consistently go back to her wrestling, but she does have an underrated jab, and I just hate that she's cutting down to 115 for this fight. That's why, you know what? We're gonna lean Piera Rodriguez. Let me reverse on that. We're gonna lean Piera Rodriguez just because she's gonna win this fight, possibly because of default.
That's the reverse button.
She's not even gonna come. Calvillo's not even gonna make it to the cage.
Yeah, she might not.
She might not make it to the cage. But I want to see how she's talking this week. I do dislike that she's 36 in this weight class. Yikes.
Yeah, and she already doesn't have a speed advantage anywhere in either weight class, 125 or 115, but especially at 115, she might look super slow.
She's going to be much bigger than this girl, though. And if she can wrestle her down, it's going to be interesting. Because Jillian, you would think like the dimensions, Jillian is 5'5", Calvillo's 5'4", but Jillian looks like a monster compared to Piera. I think they're making her 5'3" out of courtesy. I think she's 5'2".
And then, like, I get it. I know Jillian's whole game is take you down and sub you out, but like even Jillian doesn't have like the greatest
best wrestling.
And I think Calvillo's got the better wrestling.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like, man, I really want to, but I'm on the fence about this fight.
Yeah, I'm leaning Piera basically like by default.
Yeah.
But if Calvillo looks good on the scale, I'm gonna take her as a live dog. I think she's gonna make this a dog fight, and I think she can have moments on the feet too, even though Piera's the better striker. So I like Piera as the lean. Calvillo's probably gonna be the bet.
Next fight on the prelims, got a bantamweight fight in the men's division, and we got two people who are debuting. We got Pedro Falcão going one-on-one with Victor Striker Hugo. That's a funny nickname. Falcão, 16-3, fighting out of Brazil, hailing from Brazil, 31 years old. Victor Hugo, 24-4, fighting out of Brazil, also hailing from Brazil, 31 years old. Not Victor Hugo's original opponent. Original opponent was Alatang. If that fight would have stood, I think it would have been Victor Hugo all day. But that line was probably crazy. I didn't get to look at it, but I could just imagine. This is going to be a nice close fight, I think, in my opinion. I think Falcão stepping in with like 3 days notice. Props to him. I know on his Contender Series fight, he was able to get a finish. For some reason, didn't get signed by Dana White. I thought he looked pretty decent, and he fought a guy who he really had to like kind of grind out, tire out, and to still get the finish in the third round the way he did.
And not get signed.
But
he signs Budka, who has a hump fest. To be honest, he snuggles the dude to death.
It's hard to tell what Dana's thinking on any given day in terms of what he's looking for and how he's looking and whatever. But I thought Falcão should have been signed.
He's filthy.
Falcão stepping in. This is his way in. Tough fight. I think Victor Hugo is solid all around. He's got decent striking, decent grappling, decent wrestling. He's a good fighter. I'm gonna lean Victor here, but it's a fight that I probably wanna watch a little more on Falcão, because I only got to see a certain amount. Again, they just announced this fight like literally super recently. But I'm gonna lean Victor here, not with the most confidence. I do think this fight probably goes over. It probably goes to decision. I don't know if anybody's gonna be finishing anybody here. They're two tough dudes. And that's what I really got for this one. What about you?
I like the over as well. And I think Falcão is possibly a live dog here. And just because it's going to be real interesting to see these guys wrestle.
Oh, yeah.
Like that's where I want to see this fight. But Victor's the better all-around fighter, and he is getting this guy in 3 days notice, which means Pedro is stepping in on 3 days notice. So I got to lean Victor on principle here by default, because I just don't know how Pedro can get ready for someone like that. He's dangerous everywhere. He's dangerous on the floor. He's dangerous on the feet. I'm going to lean Victor here, but this is another fight. I agree with you. I want to see the scales. I want to see everything. This fight is lined perfectly. It's practically a pick'em. But I'm going to lean Victor.
Next fight on the prelims at women's bantamweight, we got the immortal Norma Dumont going one-on-one with the returning, the Iron Lady, Germaine the Randamie. Dumont, 10-2 overall, fighting out of Brazil, hailing from Brazil, 33 years old. The Randamie, fighting out of California, but repping the Netherlands, 10-4 overall, 39 years old.
Yikes.
I think this is a good fight.
Great fight.
I think this is a very interesting fight. If this was like a couple years ago,
GDR.
I think GDR would have been the favorite. She's coming in as a dog here. And even so, I'm still kind of tempted to bet the GDR side. It's almost 4 years since her last fight. But if you ask me, I think she's still the better striker. I think Dumont, her game plan is probably to cage push, take her down, and where I think she's got the edge is on the ground. She could ground and pound. She can jiu-jitsu, any way she wants. I'm split on this fight because I think Dumont is probably the rightful favorite here, and I'm high on Dumont. There's a lot of people who shit on her. I know she doesn't have the best resume, but I think she's good.
She has decent fight IQ.
But of course, when you compare it to the Randamie's resume, where she's only lost
to Nunez twice,
and she's beat 4 champions here. I mean, she's beat.
She lost to Holly. Officially, she beat Holly. That was bullshit.
Yeah,
she lost that fight.
But it's just tough. I don't. What do you think? I'm going to throw this one to you first because I'm still kind of debating which side I want to be on right now.
You're absolutely right about this being a very hard fight to call. I gotta lean Dumont just because of activity, and she is going to be, I think, the naturally bigger girl because she naturally fought at 45. Let's see if she even makes weight for this fight.
I mean, but the Randamie was the first featherweight champion, so we can't forget that either.
Unofficially, right? Because she robbed Holly home. They robbed Holly home. Holly should have had 2 belts. But what I will say is, I know GDR is big, but GDR, this is more of her natural weight class. I think Dumont's going to be the stronger girl of the two. Maybe not in the clinch, but definitely in the wrestling and the grappling exchanges. I'm going to lean Dumont just because of GDR's inactivity. But if you're asking me, GDR could knock her out. Like that 100% could happen because no one in this division strikes like she does.
Would you argue that she's, I guess she's more live than I guess I'm willing to give her credit for? Like, how live do you think GDR is in this fight?
Considering how bad this division is, she's pretty live.
Yeah. That's the way I was kind of feeling too, because when we got, what's this girl's name that just beat Bueno Silva?
Yeah.
When we got Pennington winning the championship at the age she's at the current, I feel like I think Randamie beat Pennington, right?
I think she beat Pennington. She beat Juliana Pena too.
Yeah,
she subbed her.
This division is kind of up in the air in terms of like, the belts up for grabs, and man, it just depends, It just depends. I like Dumont as a fighter,
Yeah. She can definitely get knocked out in this fight though. That can definitely happen. So I think GDR is worlds ahead of everyone in this division with the striking.
Yeah.
I mean, she even lumped up Nunez in certain portions of the second fight and was able to get up when she got taken down in certain portions of that fight. So
I think this is going to be another one of these wait and see fights.
Correct.
Because I don't know this for sure, but I know she had a kid in her time off, but I don't know if it was her that gave birth or her partner that gave birth.
Correct.
I think that's pretty. That's some need to know information. I kind of need to know. Also, I kind of want to see the way she looks on the scale, and if Dumont could actually make this weight.
Yeah, comfortably
as well, because this could be another fight where she misses weight and Randamie's like, well, I'm not gonna fight that. I'm not gonna fight her at this weight.
Or Norma looks terrible. She takes the fight and she's just compromised and she gets knocked the fuck out.
So this is gonna be another wait and see, I think, in my opinion.
But Dumont's the lean for sure.
I think I'm with you.
Yeah, I gotta lean Dumont just because of activity and just because of the grappling edge. So Dumont.
Next fight on the prelims, and is currently constituted the prelim main event at welterweight. We got Court McGee, the Crusher, going one-on-one with the great White, Alex Morono. McGee, 21-12, fighting out of, Orem, Utah. Good old US of A, 39 years old, going against the great White, Alex Morono, 23-9. Fighting out of Houston, Texas, 33 years old. This is a fight where I think it's going to be a good fight for as long as it lasts. This fight could possibly end inside. That's kind of my initial thoughts on it at the moment. I'm going to lean Morono here. McGee, I think he's good. I think he's a decent striker. I think he's probably going to try to go to the grappling here.
You got to hope.
And I think if he gets to the grappling here, I think Morono is probably going to be live for a sub. I think if this stays standing up, there's only a matter of time before one of them gets chin checked. Probably McGee is probably the one that probably gets chin checked more than Morono. I think Morono is just one of these guys. He kind of gets these old guys out. You know what I'm saying? He did it to the Dirty Bird. I think he's going to do it to McGee here. I do question Morono's IQ sometimes, but
he kind of just figures it out. It's weird.
I think this is a spot where Morono should do what he needs to do, and I think it probably finishes inside. I think he gets him out. I like Morono here. No offense to McGee. I just think he's 1 or 2 years a little too old and 1 or 2 shots away from night. So I mean, Morono's the side for me. Agreed.
I would trust McGee if I was sure he was going to go to his wrestling. Because Morono's takedown defense is terrible. It's like 50%. But I think it's because he's so confident off his back that he allows himself to be taken down so frequently.
That's why I think sub is live.
I'll go with you there.
On both sides, to be honest.
Yeah, because he might hurt him and then sub him.
Yeah.
Like that could happen too. But if you're asking me, I think Morono's got a little more gas in the tank. I think McGee is a little more of the more compromised fighter. So I'm going to lean Morono here. Probably ITD. I'll go ITD. I can't bet him at minus 340. Hell no. Like that's not happening. So... But I'll say ITD. Don't know I'm going to play it, but he's definitely the lead. But if I had to play, it's probably going to be ITD. So, Morono.
UFC Vegas 90 to kick off the main card at lightweight. We got Trevor Peek going one-on-one with the cannibal, Charlie Campbell. Peek, 9-1, fighting out of Chattanooga, Tennessee, 29 years old, going one-on-one with Charlie the Cannibal Campbell. 8-2, fighting out of New York, 28 years old. Didn't know he was a New Yorker.
Me either.
This is going to be another good fight for as long as it lasts. I have trouble seeing this fight go to distance, only because of just the style of both these fighters. Trevor Peek, I mean, listen, a hell of a chin. Green as hell, but that boy's got heart. He's got that dog. He's going to come forward, pressure, hammer fist, axe handle. He might clothesline somebody. He's a barroom brawler. And I mean, he's 29. So I mean, I don't see too much improvement from where we kind of know where Trevor Peek is. Trevor Peek is going to be Trevor Peeking in this fight. Campbell, though. I think Campbell, in my opinion, I'm going to lean Campbell here only because I do worry about his chin. He did get in those the last time he got into a crazy exchange, it was against Chris Duncan on the Contender Series.
He was working him, and then he got worked.
And my God, he worked the shit out of Chris Duncan. And Chris Duncan was like, nah, you ain't going to stop me from this contract, boy. Bam, slept him. Crazy shit. So I am worried about if this fight turns crazy. Peek could probably sleep Campbell. But I think Campbell hits just as hard as Peek. Is probably better technically. I'm not sure about gas tank, but I think he's smart enough to kind of fight a smart fight against Peek and maybe get him out. I mean, you can hit Peek with a fucking shovel. It's hard to get that boy out, but I kind of think sub is live here, even though Campbell don't really got a sub on his record. This fight is going to be as good for as long as it lasts. I'm going to lean Campbell slightly because I think he's better technically, but I'm not too confident in that pick at all, if I'm being honest. And I don't know how I'm going to bet it.
This fight inside the distance is definitely going to happen. I don't think this fight's going to go to the judges' scorecards. But what I will say is that Chris Duncan is his only loss, Charlie Campbell, that being Charlie Campbell, his only loss. And I think Charlie Campbell, if there wasn't like this urgency to fight in the Dana White Contender Series to finish your opponents, he probably would have won that fight. With that said, Trevor Peek is gonna, be there. But what this also said, I think Charlie Campbell's the biggest guy he's gonna fight. Rather has fought at this point. Charlie Campbell's 6 feet, and he's gonna have 3 inches in height and about 3.5 inches in reach on him.
Yeah.
And Charlie knows how to use his feet and place his punches. I think we're probably going to get a first-round knockout or a second-round knockout by Charlie Campbell in this fight. I think this is going to be the most efficient striker that Peek has fought.
You think he's going to be the first guy that takes Trevor off his peak?
I think so.
Bars.
Dawson's Peak is the only one that exists. You know what I'm saying? And Trevor.
What about Dante's peak?
Yeah, that's true too. Forget about that one. There's 3. There's 2 of them. They're both D. This one starts with T. Fuck 'em. Hey, yo. But what I will say, yeah, I think Charlie Campbell's gonna get him out in the first 2 rounds. I don't. This guy has very slick striking, and you kind of see that on display with the ghost of Alex Reyes, who is Dom Reyes' older brother. But regardless, he's done that to almost everyone he's fought. His ability to get in and out, places shots, doesn't overextend. I think Trevor Peek's going to be in for some shit this fight. So Charlie Campbell.
Next fight, heavyweight. You know I love my heavyweight fights. We got the Bull, Łukasz Brzeski, going one-on-one with the debuting Valter Ignacio, or, as we now know him, Valter Walker, the brother of big old Johnny Walker. The clean monster, by the way. The Bull, Brzeski, 8-4-1 overall, fighting out of Poland, hailing from Poland, 31 years old. Valter Walker, the clean monster, a perfect 11-0, fighting out of Russia, but hailing from Brazil, 26 years old. Listen, this is a fight where it's a little bit on the lower level. I just got to be honest. Brzeski, you can argue he won his debut fight against against Budai. But close fight, he took the L there. He's currently on a 3-fight losing streak. Valter, 11-0, not on a losing streak. He's on an 11-0 winning streak.
Whooping ass.
And how does Valter fight? You would think he fights like Johnny Walker. Oh, hell no.
The complete opposite.
Complete opposite. I think I'm willing to bet he's got the better chin.
Oh, no, he definitely has a better chin.
He does not have the better striking, compared to his brother. But what he has that his brother does not have is fucking wrestling.
Good wrestling.
Blast doubles, power doubles.
Especially at heavyweight.
This man, 6'6", built like a fucking refrigerator. And he's coming in to do one thing. Take your ass down. Hug your ass out and beat your ass up.
He's just serving you whatever's in that refrigerator.
Oh, he's serving.
He's serving the shit out.
He's serving 2 hams. And he's going to bust your whole shit open with him. I'm going to lean Valter here for the win. I kind of wanted to fade him a bit here because he's making his debut. I think Brzeski's a little better than he's shown.
Correct.
If you ask me, I think Brzeski might have the better cardio. He's probably going to have the better output. The problem is that Brzeski doesn't hit as hard as Valter, in my opinion.
Not even close.
Brzeski, he got rinsed by, what's his name in the wrestling?
Oh,
Carl Williams.
Carl Williams.
I think, and you can argue, hey, it was 2 different approaches. Carl Williams kind of used a lot of inside trips to get him down and this and that. Valter doesn't really, or not that I've seen, has used any kind of inside trips, anything like that. He's more of a traditional, I'm just going to blast double your ass, take you from one side of the ring to the other, put you against the cage, power double your ass straight down. I think Valter is going to win here. I'm learning the hard way. You don't fade bums with bums. And I'm not calling Valter a bum, but Brzeski is not
UFC caliber.
He's not a bum. So
no.
I'm going to lean Valter here for Valter Walker for the win. Don't know how he does it. Probably inside the distance. But, I mean, this could be a big old sloppy-ass third-round kind of fight as well because Walker's a little low volume for my taste as well. But, I mean, power edge, wrestling edge.
Chin edge.
I got to give Walker here.
Yeah, I'm with you on Valter. And I'm with you on Valter because he can wrestle into the third round. And if he can control him, he's going to be able to control him. Plus, on top of that, Brzeski, yeah, he got worked by Carl Williams. Carl Williams is 30 to almost 40 pounds lighter than Walker.
Yes.
I mean, this guy he looks like the juggernaut. If you could build a human being and say, damn, they're the juggernaut, like the X-Men and shit, yeah. He's that guy.
He's going to be every bit of 265.
No, he's going to be heavier on fight night. He cuts down to 265. Yeah, it's nuts.
Large, man.
Large. And he's jacked. Like he's not like sloppy.
No.
At all. He has blast doubles. I don't know. Don't get me wrong. I think Brzeski can, especially if it's against the cage, can get up. I just think Valter's going to be able to put him back down, to be frank.
I think he's going to do a better job of holding him down just because of his
he's just
size
so
alone.
Much bigger. Yeah, he's gonna be at a 2-inch reach, a 2-inch size advantage, if I'm correct, height, and I think he's gonna have like a 2-inch reach advantage as well.
It's looking like a 3-inch.
Even more so. So I gotta lean Valter here. Just I'm big meaty men bumping meat.
Hey.
Like this dude he's just the biggest meat bumper. So I'm on Valter.
Next fight on the main card, we got Ignacio Bahamondes going 1-on-1 with Christos Giagos. La Juala Bahamondes, 14-5, fighting out of Chicago, hailing from Chile, 26 years old. Giagos, the Spartan, 20-11 overall, fighting out of Hawthorne, California, 34 years old. I'm gonna lean Bahamondes here straight up. It's probably gonna get a little dicey in the beginning. I think Giagos is probably the most live in the beginning. That's where he gets to retain all his cardio. I think he hits like a truck, and I think he could probably give Bahamondes some trouble in the grappling. But if Bahamondes could kind of like, weather that storm, I think he's got the better volume. I think Sub is probably live because I think that's Giagos. I don't think wants to stand with Bahamondes for the most part. At least I don't think so. It's hard to predict Giagos. I'm kind of hit and miss when it comes to predicting how he fights and if he's gonna win or not. Bahamondes hasn't looked too hot either. I mean, losing to
Ludovic Klein is
that's no joke.
The Magdesi one is the one you're probably like referring to.
The Magdesi one's a little weird, and then Trey Ogden kind of like Trey Ogden him.
No, actually no, he beat Trey Ogden.
Yeah, but it was kind of like a weird fight. You know what I'm saying? So I'm leaning Bahamondes here. I think Sub is probably live because of the Giagos wrestling that he's probably going to try to do here.
And the chin.
But
Club and Sub.
Yeah, Club and Sub is 100% live here. But Bahamondes is just one of these guys where I kind of put him on the same level. Not the same level, but a similar level as like Zell Huber.
Yeah.
He's one of these just like long, lanky, good prospects that I kind of believe in. He hasn't had the same success as Zell Huber, but I mean, beating Giagos here is probably a step in the right direction. Again, Giagos hella live in the first round, maybe even round and a half.
And that's all.
But if this fight gets extended, I think this is Bahamondes. He should be able to take over. He could finish him. I think Bahamondes aside, but I don't know how to bet this one, to be honest. I haven't really put too much thought into how I want to attack this fight.
I'd say Ignacio rounds 2 and 3. That's how you bet it, unless you think Giagos has a chance in the first round. But I don't think he does. I think he could even hurt him. I just don't trust his cardio late in fights, man. He just falls apart. And you've seen in the last fight he had with Zell Huber where he kind of tried to, shoot on him, and then he bumped into him.
Almost forgot they fought each other.
Yeah, and then he winded up anaconda choking him. So
yeah,
I gotta lean Bahamondes here because it's gonna be a similar fight in my opinion. And I think Zell Huber is a little better than Bahamondes on the floor, but I will say Ignacio does have that South American spirit, man, in fighting.
Yeah.
Him and Zell Huber cut from the same cloth, so I trust him not to break late in this fight. I got Bahamondes rounds 2 and round 3 for sure.
Next fight, and currently constituted, this is the featured bout at men's featherweight. We got Morgan Charrier, the last pirate, going 1-on-1 with Machine Gun Chepe Mariscal. Charrier, I think I'm hoping I'm saying his last name correctly. 19-9-1 overall, fighting out of France, hailing from France, 28 years old. Mariscal, the Machine Gun, 15-6, fighting out of Denver, 31 years old. This fight, I think, is going to be a very good fight. I mean, it's a fight essentially between two, I guess, for lack of better terms, journeymen. These two middle-of-the-road kind of guys. I'm going to lean, it's tough, because I think Mariscal is underrated, and I think he's a fucking dog. And I think he's live in probably any fight that he's in. But Charrier, Morgan, the last pirate, I think he's probably the more technical guy. I think he's probably the more athletic guy. And I think punch for punch, he might be the harder hitter here.
I agree.
The only problem with Morgan is that he's super low volume. And a lot of his fights are win or lose. They're close. I'm probably leaning this fight goes to decision. I think if you want to play either side, I think by decision is probably the way to play it. I don't see too many finishing, avenues for both fighters here. Even though they probably could both get the finish, I think more likely than not, this goes to decision. If you want to bet decision either way, that's probably the way to play it. And I think if you want to play it as neutral as possible, if one of your books offers split decision, I think that's probably not a bad look as well. I'm gonna lean the last pirate here, only because he's the more technical guy. But I don't hate the dog shot on Mariscal. I think Chepe is a fucking dog. But another fight, I probably want to wait a little longer and, kind of really digest it and see where these guys are at. Again, 2 journeymen, 2 badass guys. Good fight. That's kind of all I really got for this one.
Agreed.
Co-main event, men's featherweight. We got the Great Ape, Alexander Hernandez, going one-on-one with Damon, formerly the Leech, currently Action, Jackson. Hernandez, 14-7, fighting out of San Antonio, Texas, 31 years old. Damon Action Jackson, formerly known as the Leech, 22-6-1, fighting out of Dallas, Texas, 35 years old. Kind of a weird co-main event, in my opinion.
Should be fighting out of Turkey with that hair transplant, but
Shoot, if you haven't seen him online yet, the transformation is tremendous. He went from teach her to teach her. You feel me? That hairline, he looks good. He definitely gained a couple years with that turkey hair transplant. Damon Jackson, I like Damon Jackson. He's a dog. He's in every fight that he's in. 100%. I'm gonna lean. It's tough. Listen, I don't want to bet Hernandez at minus
200.
Any kind of money.
Can't get any minus money.
I do think he's the side here, but it's tough. I guess in terms of matchmaking, it's a solid fight because this is going to be make or break for both fighters here. I know the UFC is. I feel like they're still kind of high on Hernandez. He's only 31 still, so I mean, there's some room for him to kind of grow and improve here. Not, I guess, in the rankings, not like technically. But I think he's the younger guy. I think he hits harder. And I think he's got enough of the wrestling edge here where I think he can hold off Damon Jackson. They both are going to gas. They're both going to look probably terrible as the fight goes on. But I'm going to lean Hernandez here reluctantly. I don't know if I can get to a Damon Jackson bet. I feel like I want to.
2 and 3. I would probably go. Rounds 2 and 3.
I can see a third round finish probably on either side, but I don't know. What do you got for this fight? Because I'm a little conflicted. I'm just being honest.
I like I'll take Alex just because I don't trust Damon's chin, but at plus 170, Damon Jackson live as hell. This is one of those fights where I'm probably gonna play this round 2, round 3. I just don't like Alex at this number. This number terrifies the shit out of me with Alex, especially a guy who gasses, doesn't have the best chin himself. And Damon Jackson, not the best cardio, not the best chin, but he's a dog.
And I trust his IQ more too.
Yeah, especially because he can control where the fight goes with the wrestling. So I could see him getting a sneaky little takedown on Alex late and probably subbing his ass, So I'm going to pick Alex because he might get him out there in the first round, to be frank.
He could.
And Damon Jackson late. And if not, this is probably going to be a live bet play. Like Alex is probably going to rinse him in the first round and then you play Jackson at plus 500, you let it ride. Straight up, because he might take that much of a walloping. So if not, I don't want any action on this fight because this fight's dangerous. Alex Hernandez is definitely initial in the first round. After that, who knows where the fight's going to go. Either it's going to be done, he can continue the onslaught because he doesn't outpour too much of himself in the first round, or Damon Jackson takes over and stops him late. So I don't know if this fight's going to go the distance. I think this fight probably ends within the confines of the time limit. So I like Alex Hernandez, but Damon Jackson definitely live.
UFC Vegas 90 main event at middleweight. We got Brandon All In Allen going one-on-one with the action man, Chris Curtis. Allen, 23-5, fighting out of Covington, Louisiana, 28 years old, going against the action man, Chris Curtis, 31-10, fighting out of Vegas, 36 years old. Not Brandon Allen's original opponent. he was supposed to be fighting Martin Vettori here. And if that fight would have held ground, I mean, listen, I'm a Brandon Allen fan. I would have went probably, no pun intended, probably all in on Brandon Allen there. I think he was going to be catching Vettori there at a really opportune time. Brandon Allen, I'm just a fan of the guy. You could see his improvements over the years. Chris Curtis steps in here. Chris Curtis just happens to be his last loss.
Tough matchup for him.
It's a tough matchup for Allen, in my opinion. They currently got Allen as the favorite here. And I kind of understand a bit why. I think that the blueprint to beat Curtis is already out there. If you can't take him down, like who's the guy he fought?
PFL probably.
No, Naimov.
Yeah.
Because Naimov was the only one of the few guys in the UFC to take Curtis down and beat his ass up. Allen doesn't really have that kind of wrestling. And it was evident in their first matchup. Chris Curtis was able to just outbox him and then knock his ass out in the second round. The other way to beat Chris Curtis is to jack a man's in his ass.
Stand on the outside.
Stand the outside, poke him up, frustrate him.
Hey, yo.
And just win a decision, right? Because, I mean, Action Man.
Durable as hell.
Durable. Hard to take down. But he hasn't really changed his game over the years.
No.
Right? Allen, I think if he does that, he can win. Do I trust him to do that, or do I think he's going to do that? I don't know. I really don't know. He really hasn't fought a striker since he lost to Chris Curtis, outside of like Bruno Silva, but we just seen Bruno Silva get fucking waxed up by Chris Weidman. And whether that fight should have went to decision or not, whatever, we'll talk about that. Fuck Atlanta City. That card was fucking terrible.
It's cursed.
But, I mean, that fight, he was losing. Bruno Silva was losing that fight. He was. Outside of the eye pokes, but. So it's tough. This is a tough fight. I feel like logic is telling me bet Chris Curtis.
It's kind of crazy
to bet Chris Curtis here. I mean, I think he's more than live. And if Allen really hasn't improved in his striking, and I really don't think he has too much, he can struggle against Chris Curtis here again. Unless, again, he comes in with a game plan where he keeps it on the outside. Because he struggled to get Chris Curtis down the first fight.
Yep.
And that's like 50% of Brandon Allen's whole game.
Correct.
If it's on the ground, Brandon Allen's lights out, in my opinion. He's good. That's just, I don't know. This fight is just weird. It's a weird fight because I feel like if I'm picking Chris Curtis, I'm picking a guy who hasn't really changed anything about his game. And it's kind of, the blueprint's out there to beat him. And you're betting a guy who's got previous history with Brandon Allen. He beat Brandon Allen.
And a 3-round fight, by the way.
Yeah.
That was 5.
And this is a 5-round fight. And I'm not worried about either guy's cardio, but I'm definitely not worried about Chris Curtis's cardio.
Or his chin.
No, not at all.
Curtis has, 10 more minutes to try and land a bomb. And to do damage. So, I'm with you here. I feel like Brendan should win this fight.
Maybe this is just like a live entry kind of fight.
Yeah. I don't know how to bet this fight.
Yeah,
this is one of the few that this is great matchmaking.
I feel like it's so obvious it feels trappy. You know what I'm saying?
It's crazy.
It feels like a trap to bet Chris Curtis, but it's
crazy. But like how is Brendan gonna get him to the floor?
Yeah.
It's he's held up against bigger, stronger men that have tried to take him down. Now, is Brendan probably the most technical? Sure. I think Brendan has made way more improvements to his game than Chris Curtis.
100%.
But it's just matchups. And I think this is a very tough matchup for him. The only 2 losses Brendan Allen has sustained is Chris Curtis and Sean Strickland, who are both teammates, outstanding takedown defense. And I don't want to hear nothing about that camp with the takedowns because you've seen how Sean Strickland, who I thought beat Duplessis, handled Duplessis on the floor and get up in those positions.
Yeah.
I think this is a tough fight I think this is a very tough fight for Brendan Allen. If it was a 3-round fight, I'd feel way more comfortable playing him. Because I think he could kind of figure it out, maybe cage hug him, keep him on the outside a bit, and then pick and choose his shots. I just don't know how he's going to do that across 5 rounds. I think it's a different game. So I want to lean Allen. I definitely know the bet's probably going to be Curtis. Like it's It's crazy.
I still don't know if I want to get there or not. I still don't know because again, Chris Curtis stepped in last minute their last fight as well. So it's like, and Chris Curtis I think is probably better when he steps in last minute because there's less for him to think about.
Correct.
He's just gonna go in there and do his thing. Brendan Allen might get thrown off because did he change the opponent? I mean, he's preparing for Vettori, who's not like Chris Curtis.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's just a different style of the way they fight. The problem is I think Chris Curtis, I mean, for how good he is I don't want to say one-dimensional, but you know what it is. You know what he's going to do when he goes in there. You know?
Correct.
Brendan Allen, I mean, I'm rooting for the boy. I like him. And if he can show any kind of improvement or in terms of IQ in this fight, I think he could win this fight. But do I trust it? I don't know. I really don't.
Yeah. I'm with you there. I just and the thing is too, even smiling Sam Alvey had success against this guy in the feet.
Yeah.
You know, it's the ebbs and flows. I almost want to wait for this line to get juiced up even more because I feel like Curtis is going to touch plus 200 at some point.
I'm curious to hear what Brandon Allen is saying.
Yes.
You know, because if he's like too busy, like shit talking Curtis or like, you know, just not, you know,
engaged,
you know what I'm saying? Like, and if his game plan is to try to do the same thing he did the first fight, I mean, that's big
good luck.
yikes. You know, good luck.
Good luck.
In a
Good luck
5-round
with that
fight,
shit.
yeah. I mean, listen.
Curtis going to be there all 5.
Yeah.
He's always in the gym, always in shape.
Not worried about his cardio.
Nope. The only thing he's worried about is headbutts. That's it. Because he's got knocked out two consecutive fights by headbutts. But if you're asking me, I'll lean Brendan Allen, and I'll say bet Chris Curtis because for me, that feels like the best way to state this for you guys because this fight is so 50-50 in my opinion, depending on where Brendan Allen is at. He dictates where this fight goes, in my opinion. But
yeah, he's the biggest question mark because we just don't know what his approach is going to be and how he plans to attack Chris Curtis at all. We don't know. We don't know.
And I might flip back and forth for how I'm going to play this come fight night, but I feel like Brendan Allen's the lean and Chris Curtis is definitely probably going to be the live dog bet. Like, he's alive as hell in this fight. So, yeah, that's all I got for this. It's just we're going to go in a circle in terms of, like, you know, how this fight can go, but it's pretty binary. It's for the most part, you know, so I think that's the best way to state it and to kind of like keep you guys, just let you guys know that this is a very confusing fight to bet on for a lot of reasons. So with that said, here comes the end of episode 50 of the Access Combat Podcast. We hope you guys enjoyed. You already know the business. Like, comment, subscribe, follow Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok.
Everybody enjoying these visuals, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to stay up to date. And
for all of our audio listeners, Spotify, Apple, Google Podcast, you already know. Love you guys. Episode 50 in the books. UFC 300 next week. And then we have a week off. So we're going to try and nail it down for you guys, get some good bets for you guys over these next 2 weeks. UFC 300, definitely a much more bettable card in my opinion than this card.
Yeah.
But all love, we're going to figure it out on this one because we've been pretty good as of late. It's outside of Atlantic City. Fuck Atlantic City. Love you guys. Holla at you guys. See you soon.